Good morning. I can't seem to wrap my brain and sorrow this morning around the loss of my soul sister, my friend, half my life, the best mom, nurse, wife, and friend to this group mourning her here today. What can I tell you about this awesome girl that I was blessed to meet day 2 of the vocational nursing program at Riverside Community College in 1996 that you don't already know and experience yourself in your individual relationships with her? We were in college together, and anyone here who's kept a college friend knows that the relationship is filled with stories and experiences that will never be repeated. There was the dancing and the partying and the boys. We were in Southern California, so there was the beach, the snowboarding, the all-nighters, and studying in between. A few skeletons in there as well, as evidenced by the photos I looked through this week that I had totally forgotten existed. But that was all before Eric fulfilled her dreams of marriage and family, all before she welcomed sweet Ariel and their awesome Alex into this world and started the Grace family legacy. Before those 3 precious souls entered her life, she was Richard's daughter and Brandon's sister, and she was my friend. How does one quantify a life that created such strong bonds in other people? Because if you knew the Graces, then you knew the Austins and the Keeners and the Andersons. How do you capture the essence of a soul whose journey was cut short far too quick due to a senseless tragedy? How do you even begin to eulogize a soul that means as much to you as the air you breathe? This is what I will try to give to you in her memory today. Cynthia was born August 29, 1974, and raised by her dad, Richard St. Peter, in Corona, California. For a time, she was a first aid girl for the boys' basketball team. Well, that was until her grades fell, and as Richard, or Pops, will say, that was the end of her high school sports career. That didn't stop her activity, though, I tell ya. She graduated Centennial High School in Corona, California in 1992, and as any other Southern California native will know, there were countless hours and calories consumed at Miguel's Jr. on a regular basis. Cynthia graduated from Riverside Community College in 1997 with her associate degree in vocational nursing. She was immediately accepted and advanced placed into the RN program, successfully skipping the first 2 semesters of nursing 1 and 2. A little nugget of history was that her acceptance letter arrived in the mail while she was at the dentist. Dr. Blash in Corona, as a matter of fact, and her stepmom called me to tell me the news first before Cynthia. Of course, she had opened the letter without permission, to which was irrelevant when the celebration ensued. I went to the dentist with celebratory balloons to tell her during her cleaning that she got in. The entire dentist office celebrated with us. What a smart, successful, and determined student she was. Her excitement was palpable. Cynthia was a tenacious overachiever, smart and driven to succeed. Competitive to beat out everyone in the class with her grades and papers, and her nursing care plans rocked. In '97, we were working together at Kaiser Permanente in Riverside, and 1 year later, Cynthia graduated with another associate degree, and this time in associate degree nursing, her ADN. It wasn't long before she had her dream job in pediatric ICU at Children's Hospital, Orange County. She was excellent at it. A real passionate and smart nurse, she took care of the sickest kids and families. She helped families with death and loss and recovery of their children. She worked nights and days and blessed family after family with her ability to do the right thing for each patient that crossed her path. Truly a calling for her. I couldn't imagine doing the job she had chosen. She was excellent at this, truly amazing. Wasn't long before things changed and she moved from Riverside in Corona to a small apartment near the beach, sharing as a roommate with Eric and a very tight circle of friends at the time. Not much further into that relationship, and they found themselves in love and planning a wedding. I know Eric's brother Rob and myself are grateful for the memories surrounding their wedding 15 years ago as we stood up for them and signed our witness to their love on a yacht out of Newport Beach, California. That was December of 2000. What a fun night. What a great way to celebrate Cynthia and Eric. There was magic on the ocean that night for two passionate kids in love. They were a lucky couple to have each other, and their love showed. It was in the air. Love was on the dance floor and in that relationship. And as life has a tendency to do, this is when the milestones continue like clockwork. My family had already moved from Southern California to Arizona when Cynthia and Eric bought their first townhouse in Chino Hills. So their first home, where we celebrated Ariel's baby shower and impending arrival. Oh my goodness, and where many other family gatherings were hosted. When Ariel was born in June of 2001, I remember I flew out immediately to rock the precious baby to sleep. I remember feeding and caring for a very sore first-time mommy, all the while loving sweet Ariel. Cynthia was so dedicated as a mom, a perfectionist in all things, including motherhood. What a gift to have this memory of her that I can share with you and her children. It wasn't long before they bought a bigger house in Chino Hills and added Alex to the Grace family. What a stud he was. Seriously, a bruiser, all boy from day one. There was a special place in Cynthia's heart for each of those precious souls she and Eric created. It was during one of their vacations, just after Alex was born, that they came to visit us in Texas. We really talked through wanting them to be with us in Katy. Being separated was ridiculously challenging, and who doesn't want their sister right down the street? Not too long later, they sold their house in California, hired our good mutual friend Corby Calloway, bought a house in Falcon Ranch. Not long after that, the Keeners followed the Graces, and Cynthia's dad retired and built a home in Conroe. Cynthia, a true Pied Piper, to bring as many as she could together. In this chapter, Cynthia took a job in the PACU, or the post-op unit, to the non-medical folks, working at Christus St. Catherine, and Eric was taking helicopter pilot lessons, their mutual lives a journey of success. The kids were small, and the parents were focused on the responsible raising of their children, gymnastics and football, cheer and birthday parties. Cynthia was nonstop from day one, integrating into the community. Cynthia and I then had the opportunity to attend college again together. We started our bachelor's degree journeys in 2005 at St. Joseph's College of Maine. Turns out, and another fun fact, Cynthia's dad's family is from the same towns in Maine where we went to college, and in the summer of 2006, we roomed together for our on-campus didactic and clinical portions of the BSN program. We were dorm mates in Maine in the summer as grown-ups without our children. It was our third time in college together, and we spent the weekend touring Maine and meeting Cynthia's extended family. Turns out my sweet Buddhist and sometimes agnostic friend was from Irish Catholic descent, and we spent an entire afternoon with a family member. I wish I could remember all the details of her relations, but I do remember she was a nun, and they talked about extended family. Truth be told, Cynthia had made contact in advance and scheduled this visit, and when we arrived, the nun hugged me and said she could see the family resemblance. Oh, I'm still going to laugh today, thinking this was a round, white-haired, blue-eyed, Caucasian, Maine, Irish Catholic nun. And I looked more like her than Cynthia did. We had a good laugh at the awkward moment, and Cynthia quickly explained that she was Richard's daughter. We all had a great visit, and we still laugh about it today. We visited the Bush compound and ate pounds of lobster in Portland at DeMillo's. We were able to see Richard's childhood home and draw parallels to life journeys and talk through our shared and collective experiences. What a hoot that was. Maybe we really were related. I certainly look more like that nun than Cynthia did. I'd like to share some of my stories of this amazing and loving bestie of mine. Some that may make you smile, others cry. But this perfect, absolutely perfect friend of mine, she deserves for you to have a glimpse into a person we all loved so much. First of all, thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for making me a better version of myself. Thank you for loving and caring for my family as it was yours. Thanks to you and Eric for years of companionship, laughter, love, and tears, and enriching the lives of everyone here celebrating you today. In the event that you didn't know this, Cynthia was my son Jake's first girlfriend. Jake is now almost 26 and married. But at the time, he was in kindergarten and a husky, chunky little guy when a sweet and sassy 21-year-old college student came to my house to study for nursing exams. Not only did we use and abuse my children with Sharpie markers, drawing out anatomy and physiology all over them and listening to every possible thing we could find to identify in their body to practice for our testing. That little boy, he just looked up to Cynthia so much, he just loved her. I wish I had a picture of the two of them together at this age to show you right now. You'd smile at the thought of this wide-eyed little boy in awe of this smoking hot college chick. As Cynthia sat at the kitchen table preparing to study for our next nursing exam, Jake, always the smooth operator, who had recently gained a couple of inches in height. And I believe he was told he was losing a little weight by his grandparents. He leaned into her, sitting in the chair next to her, staring with all the passion that a 5-year-old can muster, Joey Tribbiani style, and said, "So, I'm thinning out." To which Cynthia had no idea how to respond. I think she was used to being hit on, maybe not by 5-year-olds. She didn't have an answer for this, pre-kids. Shock was on her face. But she didn't break his heart. What does one say to this? I love to hear Cynthia retell this story, and I can still picture the delight and mock shock in the retelling. I even see her eyebrows moving today, up and down, in just like, oh my gosh, what does one say to this? Her smile. Her, oh my gosh, did you see what that kid just did look? I tell you, this relationship went on until Jake's 18th birthday, when he called her on her cell phone to say, "Hey, Cynthia, I'm legal now. You ready to leave Eric?" Laughter filled the world with Cynthia in it, and she laughed at Jake in this comment. But the truth is, it's a great bond. I can see it all now, every single moment, when she called me still laughing at Jake and the thought of leaving Eric for him. Kids, I'm grateful for that memory and for her laughter. Jake wasn't the only member of our family that was truly enamored with Cynthia. We could also say that my father-in-law, Poppy. Oh, what a sweet relationship this was. He often referred to Cynthia as his girlfriend, and this was a significant thing. Poppy spent 10 years in Parkinson's decline with countless hospital and nursing facility visits from Cynthia to check in on him. I can still hear her saying things as she sauntered into the hospital room to Dad, like, "Hey, a hot stuff," or "How's it hanging today, big guy?" To which he'd always have a chuckle and a smile. I hear her saying, "You know, Poppy, all you have to do is call or text me. You don't have to go to all these measures to get to see me. I'll come see you without a hospital involved." And it was true. She was there for him, for us, and for everyone. She brought joy to a wonderful member of our family on his final journey. She was fearless, accomplished, secure. I'm going to miss her. In my darkest days, 10 years ago this week, Cynthia and Eric stepped up into the biggest act of kindness towards my entire family as they coordinated and orchestra directed our lives when we lost our 17-year-old daughter to a motor vehicle collision just down the street from our home in Katy. Her kindnesses and dedication to me, to my family. Eric and Cynthia together planned food, tents for the backyard. I mean, July is hot in Houston, right? They framed photos of our baby girl. They got her senior pics, painted our parking space at Cinco Ranch High School. Cynthia came in the middle of the night when I couldn't breathe or talk. She answered the phone, heard my sob, and she was there. She held me. She bathed me, and for heaven's sake, she shaved my legs. Together, Eric and Cynthia protected us from the world, Jeff, Jake, and I. And like many of you here who are in their darkest days now, like her amazing children, Ariel and Alex, your mom was my sojourner, my touchstone, my voice of reason. Your parents wouldn't take money or any return on any of the wonderful things they did for us. What they gifted us in their love 10 years ago could never be repaid. In the best of times, like breaking into closed community pools to swim at 2 a.m., or our first tattoos, and the big adventures that included Palm Springs and Scottsdale, Key West, New York City, San Antonio, and Maine. I was joyful when they followed us in our move to Katy. Eric took Jeff and I flying over Los Angeles and Orange County for my 30th birthday, and it was the best gift ever. I remember, oh my gosh, Ariel and Alex, I remember your mom's face when I opened the gift certificate at the surprise party Uncle Jeff threw for me. When she said loudly, and maybe a little too proud, to our friends that she had won the best gift prize. Oh, and she did. She did. Cynthia and Eric both did that year, and Eric was a competent, capable, professional, and safe pilot. No doubt about it. If you ever had the pleasure to fly with them, you'd know that in your heart. Backyard barbecues and holiday parties. There were always fireworks and smiles with the Graces. I loved her passion and zeal for life. I shared in that with my entire being. And like Bette Midler's quote as Cece Bloom in the movie Beaches, which every chick in this place has got to know. I know everything there is to know about you, Cynthia Grace. And my memory is long. Very, very long. Once in Houston, Cynthia and I had 2 additional opportunities to work together. Once at a hospice company in Houston for our friend Barbara Bierstadt as educators and marketers. This was most fun. We had working together since Kaiser Urgent Care with Dr. Kim. And again at West Houston Medical Center in case management. I had originally brought Cynthia over with me, but she excelled. She was a leader there, and eventually she became the lead case manager. So knowledgeable. She was smart, so smart. She continued to advance her career and sat for her board certification in case management and pediatrics during these years. And there was a real life being made at home. There was the raising of kids, gymnastics and baseball, and football and cheer. I can still hear her screaming for her babies and a passionate zeal for success. She was a competitive spirit, and that showed in the way she supported Ariel and Alex. She suffered silently from rheumatoid arthritis, and she would take her IV infusion time to talk or to text. She had other medical issues, but you'd never know it. She was brave and true and ever present for her family. She continued working and earning and striving for a better life for her kids. She sacrificed, regardless of how tired she was or how much pain she was in. She was a diligent student, a compassionate nurse, a loving wife, an amazing mom, a dedicated daughter and older sister, and a real friend to anyone who knew her. Life is more than a series of dates engraved. It's truly what's happening in the dash that matters. And she lived that dash. She loved in it. She touched and improved countless lives of patients and children in her calling as a nurse. She returned to Texas Children's recently after working for a stint at Memorial Herman Katy in administration. She missed helping kids and families, and she was fulfilled in that work. Her Texas Children's family gave her career purpose and meaning, and they welcomed her return with open arms. She was happy to be back. Countless girls' nights out, weekends away, mud runs, loss, life. She showed the true way to be a humanitarian. I was blessed to know her grandparents and parents, her friends, and her brother in her life. She will never be forgotten and always remembered with gratitude and love. Her life is so much more than that series of dates and accomplishments that we talk about. In her 41 years, she lived the dash fully and completely. That time in the dash between birth and death, there was a making of a life and a legacy. Although we logged countless hours talking about religion and beliefs and our children, oh boy, did she have some disagreements with her children on beliefs. Christianity, Buddhism, agnostic, always so much going on. We rarely agreed on spirituality. That being said, my heart is full today, and I know in my soul that she is with my sweet Jackie, on the other side, keeping her company and telling her stories of our shared lives. And much like there's many stories of Cynthia I'm not ready to share with her daughter, I don't know that I'm sure that I'm ready for her to share some of mine with Jackie either. But I know they're laughing and they're sharing the mom spirit, as I commit to doing here whenever Ariel and Alex want. I have the crazy and the silly, the serious and the loving memories of your mom. No one will ever replace her or fill that void for you, ever. Grief is a journey, and there will always be a place that you will miss and love both your parents. There will always be a loss that you will feel when you think of them. But you need to know that I'll hold these memories that I have saved for you, and you can take them from me anytime. They're available for endless checkout at your request. Whew. For the moms and dads here celebrating Cynthia and Eric, and for their precious children, Ariel and Alex, the passion and loves of their lives, I want you to know that there was no one stronger than Cynthia. Just like you, I love her with my whole being, honestly, openly. And if you had the pleasure and joy of knowing her, you knew the strong, the opinionated, the feisty. You knew that she was a perfectionist in every sense of the word. And if she was performing a task, she was giving it her all. You knew that she would fight for the right cause, and she would protect you, any one of you, from whatever she had the power to do, whether that was calming some irate shopper at H-E-B, or kicking someone's butt for you, metaphorically or physically, like she did for Eric that time in Taco Bell, all those years ago when they were dating. Cynthia could take on the world and your biggest bullies. She was the better friend, the better wife, the better daughter, certainly the better mom. She was tenacious at bettering herself. Competition fueled her from our days playing tennis in college. P.S. She was the better tennis player also. Just ask Alex. She'll do it nothing. She will win. That isn't to say she didn't struggle balancing work, kids, travel, parents, and friends. She did. She often didn't feel she measured up to the best version of herself, and she wanted more for her kids, a better life, better choices, and a slower pace with a fuller passion for what is important. If you were blessed enough to be loved by her, you knew it. She was honest with you, and she loved you with her whole self. And if you laughed with her, you knew the sweet song that her infectious laugh would sing, and how she could fill a room with her extroverted self. She embodied fun, and if you needed help and were on the receiving end of that, she would help like no other. When she listed the things she was grateful for in this life, she listed Eric for loving and supporting her, even in her version of crazy. She listed Ariel and Alex and the joy in watching them play sports. She listed her dad and her mom, and the things that brought her joy were being the team mom, supporting and loving her children, being with her family, good times with her friends, especially her friends. Many things blessed Cynthia's life. Among them was the relationship she and Eric shared with Summer and Jim. They were a fierce foursome of fun, and our entire circle and network of friends will be changed. Again, no words for that. It's not just the Cynthia that I knew I'm talking about here. It's the one that you knew as well. Cynthia St. Peter Grace will always be the best example of what a friend and mom should be. We rode the dash for 20 plus years together, nursing pins and professional development and family and love. We shared an intimate relationship, and I'm better for it. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for her. Regardless of your faith, my fervent prayers for kindness and generosity are with each of you today. May you embody Cynthia's spirit and be a better person for it. May you love someone with your whole self and endlessly give to your children.
May you be a friend as she was to me. May Cynthia and Eric rest in peace until we are honored to see them again. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for honoring my friend and her husband. And thank you for blessing her family and children with your presence in this room. Many thanks. With love.